We trust you'll find today's program interesting and informative. Indeed, we think you might be quite impressed by what you hear today. The campus has been the recipient of enough publicity for us to believe that most of you are generally aware of the significant activity and development taking place on the campus. But we are also fairly sure that most of our community has very little knowledge about the full scope and impact of that activity and development. This is becoming a very exciting place and a very important place for our collective future. So we felt it was appropriate and timely to present to the community more of the specifics about who we are, what has already been accomplished on the campus, what is occurring now, and what is being planned for the future. But what we really hope to convey the most is that sense of excitement. I'm fortunate to have had a ringside seat in this arena as chair of the campus, as a board member of several of the member organizations, and as a grant-maker representative for the Cummings Foundation. Over the past 6 years, I've become increasingly enthused about the successes and potentials of the BNMC. So as I contemplated my opening comments, I thought, how do I grab them early on? How do I let them begin to feel the buzz that I do? To that end, before we immerse ourselves in a more structured review of the campus, permit me a few very impressive facts about the campus, teasers if you will. From 2003 to 2009, there was $300 million of new construction on the campus. There currently is $1.5 billion of new construction in progress. 2 million incremental square feet, 3,500 more employees will be added to the campus as a result. The Kaleida Global Heart and Vascular Institute, combined in the same building with the UB Center for Translational Research and the Jacobs Institute, is, we believe, the first such circumstance in the world to co-locate and therefore effectively integrate such clinical, research, and development activities. Physicians and researchers from across the country, and indeed internationally, are fascinated by this innovative approach and its potential. The rehabbed Trico 4-story building, what we call the Innovation Center, has 25 new companies already located there. Many of them are startups. 25 new companies in Buffalo, drawn by its proximity to a locus of biomedical institutions. Cleveland Biolabs, a company recruited to the campus by Roswell from the Cleveland Clinic, has a well-publicized drug in testing, CBLB 502, with enormous potential for improving radiation tolerance. But recently, it is also showing in animal trials to have a dramatic impact as an anti-carcinogen on colon, lung, and melanoma cancers. Roswell itself has become a world leader in robotic oncology surgery. They have done twice. That's 2 times the number of robotic cystectomies as any other place in the world. If you need that surgery, it's the best place in the world to get it done. They also teach robotic surgery to surgical teams from around the world, here on the Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus. A team of Hauptman-Woodward scientists are exploring encouraging new methodologies to identify drugs that are effective against antibiotic-resistant bacteria. They are at the very forefront of that huge issue closing in on mankind. Buffalo Hearing and Speech is working with the Gates Foundation to fund the expansion of their unique and innovative literacy and language programming to 12 other cities in the United States. It started here on the campus. The Olmsted Center for Sight and the Ross Eye Institute, who are co-located and coordinated on the campus, are the only such circumstance in the United States to combine a university Department of Ophthalmology and a visual impairment service agency. The synergies are enormous for patients, research, and education. A consortium of 3 World Fortune 100 companies is actively pursuing the establishment of a pilot program for electric utilization innovations in northern latitude urban contexts, here on the Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus. Upstate New York Transplant Services has spearheaded the development of a community blood bank, controlled, sourced, and utilized here in Buffalo that will save local hospitals $1.5 million this year over alternative sourcing. It's the perfect metaphor, our own blood as an asset we manage and capitalize on ourselves. Those of you who know me know I am not given to hyperbole, but I truly believe we are establishing a beachhead of global relevance here on a number of fronts. And in its entirety, it is an asset that we can control and develop ourselves as a community. This type of excitement feeds on itself. It builds, it grows. Our job is to nurture it to a critical mass and beyond. When I use the pronoun our, I know it includes the BNMC membership. I hope you will begin to think that it also includes you. So let us begin our review. Matt Enstis, our CEO, will take you on a virtual tour shortly of yesterday, today, and tomorrow on the campus. But my role as chair is to start briefly with governance and organizational structure. Just what is the BNMC? Well, it's a lot more than just the physical location of 120 acres bounded by Michigan, Goodell, Main, and North Streets. Although the sense of place being created here is a very important concept for us, as you'll learn later. The BNMC as an organization is an association of member organizations. 9 medical, education, research institutions, joined by neighborhood representation from Allentown and the Fruit Belt, and ex officio participation with the mayor, county executive, and common council president. We are not insular. If you take into account the boards of directors of all these organizations, it represents a broad spectrum of Buffalo's most committed community volunteers. We have structure and process to that organization with bylaws, a board of directors composed of the CEO and/or board chair of each organization, a committee structure focused on operational areas and populated by functional experts from the member organizations, and an administrative staff to help coordinate and facilitate the activities of those committees. Communal planning and implementation takes place on many common issues, such as safety, transportation, branding, government affairs, and others. This is not just a discussion forum. It is structured for decision and action. Having said that, it is not a separate entity in practice, but rather the collective objectives and aspirations of its members, melded as they relate to institutional and community agendas. It is a testament to those organizations, and also my predecessor, Tom Beecher, that the BNMC has become a model for collaboration and cooperation here in Western New York. We are not perfect by any means. We have our squabbles, as would be expected and perhaps desired at some level. But in general, these organizations have all sacrificed some autonomy and embraced the notion that in many ways they can be more effective together than separate. We have, like any good organization, a sense and expression of our collective mission and vision, established by the board collectively, but in complement with each of their individual organizations' missions and vision. Without dwelling on its entirety, I'd like to point out several key words. Knowledge base acknowledges that we are different from Buffalo's industrial-based history and service-based transition. We consider ourselves in the knowledge building and application business. Transformation is a bold word, but we consider the campus to be a huge contributor to Western New York. If we are to be realistic, not a panacea, but at least a solid leg for area growth and development. Entrepreneurship is the logical extension of knowledge building and a key for all of us if we are to capitalize on our own assets. Best in people who are the source of knowledge building. We think the campus can have amazing impacts on recruiting and retaining physicians, researchers, scientists, and world-class administrators. Before I turn it over to Matt to walk you, or perhaps I should say fly you through the campus, I'd like to reemphasize the most important aspect that is fostering our progress. It is all about the cooperation and coordination between and amongst our members, the institutions, the neighborhoods, our elected officials, and their administrations. Speaking as one, being on the same page, has given us credibility at the state and federal level to the tune of $50 million in grants for development. It has given us visibility for corporate investment and entrepreneurial startups. It has engendered philanthropic support and public goodwill. There are many individuals to thank for their participation and contributions to that, but most importantly, I'd like to ask the board of directors, all those that could make it today, to stand. You're out there, I know you, several of you are at least. It starts there, the tenor, the commitment, the leadership. Lastly, three other gentlemen warrant special recognition. Our Operations Committee, the focal point of our governance and operational programming. Joe Kessler, Mike Sexton, and Scott Nastaya. We thank them for their countless hours, dogged effort, and measured wisdom.